Comic book legend and toy maker Todd McFarlane has triggered a bunch of people, and it's over things he said. And honestly, when you realize what it is outside of what they're trying to push it, taking what he said at face value and trying to twist it into something else, you realize it's not bad at all. That's often the case though with the internet, right? How many times do people take things out of context or twist it to make it seem like it's way worse than what it actually is, to paint somebody as an istrophobe or anything like that. So it says here, Todd McFarlane disagrees with pushing female-oriented figures in boys' action figure lines. Why are you forcing stuff that won't sell? Article from Bounding Into Comics here. I'll go ahead and link it in the description below for those of you that want to read it for yourselves. I'm not going to read the entire article. There's just certain parts that I want to go over here. The beginning, some of the middle stuff, and some stuff towards the end here. So it says, Spawn creator and McFarlane Toys namesake, Todd McFarlane, has pushed back against the recent call to feature more female-oriented items in boys' toys lines, arguing such attempts are sales poison due to their fundamental misunderstanding of their target audience. Nothing wrong there, right? Nothing, and by the way, just, spoiler alert, there's really nothing wrong with anything he says throughout the course of this interview that he had, because these are all excerpts from an interview that he had with YouTuber Shartimus Prime, who is a more toy-centric YouTube channel that had an interview with him. But this is the part that I wanted to kind of focus on here, is the part where he talked about, he talks about selling toys, how, for in some instances didn't have a movie to really back it up. They kind of poke fun at Marvel as well right here, where he says, he elaborated, you don't necessarily need a big movie to move it. Obviously, Batman movie coming out, that helps, but I don't know if they sold a bunch of Eternals toys when the movie came out, eliciting laughter in a response of, come on, Todd, they didn't sell any Eternals toys from Shartimus Prime, which, yeah, they really didn't. Now, of course, the thing about the DC multiverse line that McFarlane Toys is doing right now, that has probably been the best response, I would say, by DC to the Marvel Legends line. Now, as you all know, back in the day, Marvel Legends line really started with Toy Biz. Eventually, they were bought out by Hasbro. In my opinion, when Toy Biz was doing the Marvel Legends line, I thought that their version of the Marvel Legends line was superior. Just my opinion. Not that I'm saying that every Marvel Legends figure that Hasbro has put out, there haven't been some good ones, because there have, but I feel personally that just the bloom is off the rose there a little bit. I mean, there's still, some of them are still pretty decent, but as opposed to what Toy Biz was doing back in the day, I just think the Toy Biz was better. So he says, I don't pay attention to the competition. I'm just saying that I didn't hear it, or whatever. McFarlane joked back. So even if DC Warner Brothers puts out a movie, it's okay if the movie does good, bad, or indifferent, because we're just doing, almost 90 to 95%. It is just that library you've had for 60 years. Just like really wicked looking drawings, he opined. Just like crap, characters looks good. Who cares if they never made it? That one will look good on a peg to the average person walking by. And by this, he's talking about like one of the reasons why the DC multiverse line has been successful is his willingness to make figures that have never been made before, of characters that are not necessarily popular, characters that might be third, fourth, fifth string characters that have never been made into plastic before. That's appealing to collectors, to get a figure of a comic book character that has never been made into a figure form before, which is something that he's willing to do, and it has been a recipe for success for McFarlane Toys, so that's why he does it. So he was talking about that. Pointing to this specific philosophy, Shartimus Prime complimented McFarlane for having never lost sight of the cool factor, to which the creator thanked him and further explained his design philosophy. I have from time to time to remind, which I shouldn't have to, but I do. I have to remind people, mostly executives, from time to time for my 30 years, when they ask certain questions. He said, why are you doing it, Todd? I have to go. You wouldn't ask that question if you remember you used to be 9 years old. Come on, just channel your 9-year-old inner being and just go, would that look cool? He would urge said audiences. And if the answer is yes, stop overthinking. You guys are overthinking it. Cool at a price I can sell. Then if you add a brand name to it, that's a home run. You've got a strong brand name. You also just have to put some fun stuff out there, right? And stop overthinking and analyzing. To this end, McFarlane moved to explain to Chartemis how it works. You've got superhero toys sell here at the top. Male superhero toys, he began, illustrating a sales hierarchy with his hands. Then you get villains, precipitous drop, villains, female superheroes, and then anything in between. Monsters, sometimes the monsters are up here, but like normally down here. Again, I'm not saying that I can't sell a female superhero, which I can. What I'm saying is that I can't do an entire line of 4 figures in one series of nothing but females and put it in the boys action aisle, he posited. Can I sell it as an Amazon exclusive or Spawn.com exclusive? Yeah, maybe, but not at the boys action figure aisle. There's a reason why it's called a boys action figure aisle. And if you don't believe me, then you don't remember that either A, you were a 9-year-old boy and or that you actually have a son, McFarlane added. He then went on to provide an example of parents shopping for a toy for their son, choosing a female superhero, and then upon giving the toy to their son, illustrating the boy's reaction. Towards the end of this example, McFarlane says, somewhere along the line, serial killers began at a certain spot. At some point, once you told your kid you walked away from monsters and aliens and dinosaurs and super, like, what are you talking about? Obviously, he was joking here, but there was people like Heather Antos, I believe, publisher of IDW, somebody that has failed upward, that has really never done anything of substance, but somehow still keeps getting jobs, which is crazy to me. But that's probably a discussion for another video. But she was upset, saying things like, "Oh no," basically answering to Todd McFarlane that toys is not what makes toys is not what makes boys serial killers. It's toxic masculinity, which is absurd because obviously there's been plenty of feminine or effeminate crazy serial killers as well. So it's just like it's just a dumb point to bring up, and obviously it's just another opportunity for her to virtue signal and kind of alienate herself from the old guard of actual comic book creators that have accomplished something with their careers, that is worthy of note. So it goes on to say here, we're dudes, we're little boys, come on, it's the same, we haven't evolved. He declared, we all like the same things. Whatever I liked in the 60s, I'm telling you, somebody's going to like it there too. Then he goes on to say, so I'm not saying we can't sell exclusives, he continued, but when you're selling at the masses, when sometimes I'm dealing with people and they want me to do 2/3 of my line as the villains and or the females or the kid characters, I go, dudes, can't do it. Jumping to the 90s, McFarlane compared any more than I can sell Derek Jeter when he was on the Yankees all day long. I can't sell the best guy on the Florida Marlins. I don't care how good he is. Somebody would rather have the 5th best Yankee because there's just something about that sale. I've been in it. I've been at it for 30 years here, Tested. You're going to have to trust me. I'm not saying that the brand isn't strong. I'm not saying you're not going to put out a movie that's not going to make $1 billion. I'm saying category specific in the boys action aisle. I can't sell 7 consecutive female figures any more than you can sell Bruce Wayne and Commissioner Gordon and somebody else in the girls doll aisle when there's a Batman movie. There's no Commissioner Gordon over there, McFarlane observed, so why are you forcing stuff that won't sell over here at the same level as over there? He then clarified, so will I do villains? Of course I will, but I got to be a little picky. Will I do female figures? Of course I will, but I got to be a little picky. Will I do monsters? Yeah, okay, but I got to be a little picky, but I can sell Superman and Batman and Spawn all day. But can I sell Superman, Batman, and Spawn all day long? Of course I can, every single day of my life. And that's really what it comes down to, okay? And that's where I'll stop with this, with the article here. What people don't realize is, especially if you've been a toy collector or you know anything about the toy industry or obviously are a toy manufacturer, this has been something that has been the case for decades, okay? A lot of times, female action figures are not mass-produced at the same level as male ones are because they just don't sell as well. The proof is in the numbers every single time. That's why they don't produce them as much. I've seen people online say, I wish they would make more figures of this kind. You know what I'm saying? I wish they would make more female action figures. Here's the thing though. You can say that all you want. You could be as vocal as you want online about that. You are a vocal minority because the bottom line is people by and large, you can say that all you want online, but unfortunately the general public, they don't go out and do that. They don't go out and prove that with their money, okay? They don't spend the money to buy those toys, okay? When even with these adult collector lines, right? Like DC Multiverse, which one at the price point that it has, one could say that's probably that price point is obviously more geared at the adult collector market. They're more detailed figures. Because the way they look and all that stuff, they're usually geared more towards an older base of fans. But the thing is, even when you're making those toys, right, with an older fan base in mind, right, you still have to consider that there's going to be a young boy, right, that is going to want the cooler looking version of the Flash or Superman, instead of the $10, lesser quality, lesser detailed looking version of the Flash or Superman or Batman or whatever. So that's got to be kept in mind even when they're making these toys, right? That a parent that wants to pick up a toy for their kid, for their son, and the son says, "Hey, I want the cooler one. I want the one that's a little bit bigger, that's a little bit more detailed. Please get me that one instead. Get me the 6-inch one instead of the 4-inch one, right? If the 4-inch one, for example, is like, let's say that because DC used to have like 4-inch figures, those were the lesser, those were the lower priced ones, right? So they have to keep that in mind. It has nothing to do with any kind of discrimination. It's just by and large they don't sell. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's plenty of boys out there that do have female superheroes that they like, right? That I'm sure there's boys out there that are fans of Wonder Woman and want a Wonder Woman action figure, right? But statistically speaking, that number is not going to be as much as the boy that wants a Superman figure, a Flash figure, a Batman figure, a Green Lantern figure. It's just the numbers, it's just not the same. They're just not going to want it as much. There's not going to be as much of a demand from those young ages. And even ranging up into teens to adulthoods, I mean, by and large, they get more of the figures of, the more male figures. So it just, although the older base will want more of a variety as they grow. Obviously, their taste grows and they want more. That's why like this DC multiverse again has been so successful for McFarlane, because the collectors are getting figures of characters that they never thought would come in figure form. So that's a great thing. But again, yeah, has nothing to do with any kind of like ism or phobe or anything like that. It's just how it's always been. They just don't sell to the same number that the male characters do. It's the same across all toy lines, especially in the action figure base, which again is geared more towards a male audience. That they're the ones that consume it the most. So it has nothing to do with any kind of ism. So anybody that's trying to put it out there like it is, that's not what it is. It's about the numbers. It's about the fact that McFarlane Toys, like DC, they don't discriminate against the color green, which is what they want to keep making in order to be able to produce more toys in the future. So that's really what it's all about. And it's funny, anybody who's taken it otherwise really doesn't know how it is. They don't know about the toy industry. I mean, they could say that they want all this and they could try to put whatever spin on it they want. At the end of the day, these are businesses, and what they're looking to do primarily is stay in business and make money. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Until next time, y'all know how it goes. The hunt continues.